The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde is a philosophical novel that explores the themes of beauty, hedonism, and corruption. The novel tells the story of a young man named Dorian Gray who has his portrait painted by a talented artist named Basil Hallward. The portrait captures Dorian's youthful beauty and innocence, and Dorian becomes obsessed with the idea of remaining young and beautiful forever. Dorian is introduced to a hedonistic lifestyle by a man named Lord Henry Wotton, who encourages him to indulge in every pleasure and desire. Dorian becomes more and more corrupted by this lifestyle, and his portrait begins to reflect his moral decay. As Dorian becomes increasingly evil, the portrait becomes more and more grotesque, revealing his true nature to the world. The novel begins with the artist Basil Hallward finishing his portrait of Dorian Gray. Basil is struck by Dorian's beauty and innocence and becomes infatuated with him. Lord Henry Wotton, a witty and cynical aristocrat, comes to see the portrait and is intrigued by Dorian. He sees in Dorian a potential to live a life of hedonism and encourages him to seek pleasure above all else. Dorian becomes obsessed with the idea of staying young and beautiful forever, and he makes a wish that he could remain young while his portrait ages. Over time, Dorian becomes increasingly corrupted by his hedonistic lifestyle, indulging in every vice imaginable, including drugs, sex, and murder. As he descends into evil, the portrait becomes more and more grotesque, reflecting his moral decay. Despite his corruption, Dorian remains beautiful and charming, and he attracts the affections of a young actress named Sybil Vane. Dorian falls in love with her, but when her acting fails to live up to his expectations, he cruelly breaks her heart and abandons her. Sybil is so distraught that she takes her own life. Dorian is haunted by guilt over Sybil's death, but his guilt only serves to make him more selfish and corrupt. He tries to reform himself but ultimately fails, and his crimes continue to escalate. As he becomes more evil, he becomes more paranoid and begins to fear that his portrait will reveal his true nature to the world. Eventually, Dorian can no longer bear to look at his portrait, and he decides to destroy it. In doing so, he inadvertently kills himself, and the portrait reverts to its original state, revealing Dorian's true, grotesque appearance. The Picture of Dorian Gray is a novel that explores the corrupting influence of hedonism and the danger of pursuing beauty and pleasure at any cost. It presents a vivid and compelling portrait of a man who becomes so consumed with his own desires that he loses sight of what is truly important in life. Wilde uses language and imagery to create a vivid and sensual atmosphere, which adds to the novel's themes of beauty and corruption. The novel is also notable for its exploration of Victorian morality, and its critique of the superficial values and social conventions of the time. Overall, The Picture of Dorian Gray is a masterpiece of Victorian literature, and it continues to be widely read and admired today for its exploration of timeless themes and its elegant prose.